And I would almost bet, Adi, this is not intentional. No, I really don't believe this is intentional at all. But I also believe when it comes to this white and the gold trim from Usyk, I believe it has something to do with the Bible. I believe it's a religious thing, and I believe like that has been a lot of his driven motivation, his belief in Jesus Christ. And not just that, when he came here, the first thing he did was go to church, and he's been saying it the whole time during this whole promo.
You know, there's something, I've been lucky enough to have sat down with Rico a few times now in the lead up to this fight. When he talks, he makes you believe him. He speaks with such assuredness, such authority, where obviously, look, he's a big underdog, but you believe that something crazy could happen because of the way he talks.
Well, there is mental power there, and let's not forget he has displayed that. 12 years glory champion, defeating opponents after another, facing adversity, overcoming adversity, and yeah, that kind of creates confidence, right? So he speaks with confidence. I think that's what's resonating.
And ultimately, Malik, he gets kicked in the face. I mean, this guy is used to knees and kicks. I mean, there's no fear factor of Rico. Rico's coming in there, as he says, an undefeated, long-reigning champion. He's coming in there to do some damage.
Yes, and one thing you just said, Adi, that make a lot of sense. He get kicked in the face a lot, right? And just being a kickboxer, so you'll say, well, he should be able to handle a punch. But the punches that come from Oleksandr Usyk are the punches you can't see. He hit you with the blindsided shot. So yeah, Rico may have seen a bunch of kicks, a bunch of whole different punches, but he's never seen nothing that's going to be coming from the direction of shots the way how Oleksandr Usyk throw punches.
This is very different for Rico, I'm guessing, Alistair. For his last 10 years, he walks into the ring in kickboxing as a favorite. He goes in there and we expect him to win. This will be the first time in a long time he's walking into a ring and nobody here expects him to win.
And that can be his beneficial factor. Yeah. That can work out for him.
The beautiful country of Egypt already brings so much history with it, and then being so close to the pyramids that have been here for thousands of years, and now we're in 2026 and still Egypt is writing history, and me and Oleksandr are a small part of that history with us headlining this main event on this card. So that's why I say I feel so thankful, and thank you to His Excellency and the whole organization. Of course, thank you to Oleksandr Usyk for accepting this challenge. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night.
And you've said in the build-up as well, Rico, look, let's talk about the similarities with yourself and Usyk as great champions, rather than the differences. You're two gentlemen. It's been classy in the build-up, but what do you respect deep down about the man you're sharing the ring with as a character and a fighter?
No, 100%. I think just in general, if we look at the world, we are more looking at what makes you different from me.
Listen, I respect all my rivals because I know how it's. Because who training boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, you know, fights, it's amazing guys and the crazy guys. Yes, I respect all my rivals, but it's hard sport, bro. You training boxing?
I had one spar and that was it. So no.
Please, go try one training, one round. The real sparring.
I'll try.
Yes.
I'll try.
I respect all my rivals, bro.
Yeah. I need to look after my nose.
Don't worry.
I'll be out of a job.
Protect, caps, no problem.
Thank you, Oleksandr.
Come my camp.
Can I, yeah?
So of course.
Okay, no problem. I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you.
I have no idea, you know, how many rounds this is fight. I'm not sad if 12 rounds, it's normal, but I don't know. When I have chance, I do it.
For you, Rico, I know you've seen this so many times in your mind, the fire and your motivation you spoke about all week. How do you believe you win this fight on Saturday? What's the best way for you to beat Oleksandr Usyk on Saturday?
For me, the first objective is to win. And how we're going to win, we'll see. If it's a knockout, it's a knockout. If it's a decision, it's a decision. So, and if it would come to a decision and I get the win, wow.
Bring something that you haven't seen before? Do you believe he can bring something that you possibly haven't seen before in a boxing ring? What are the big dangers?
Now it's only words. This is press conference and we speak a lot of, but my language will be in ring, you know. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. We'll see. It's God's will.
Boxer in a boxing fight, it's not happening. I might be some, do you know what I mean, at a certain level, but like I'm not going to jump in and beat like a Usyk or a fucking Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. It's just not happening.
What do you make of it? You've sparred. Does he have any chance?
I mean, I've been sparring Rico for 10 years, so I know him well. He's like, I'm lucky enough to say that he's a friend of mine as well. Super good guy. I think anybody's got a chance, don't they? But I think Usyk's is of level. So Rico's a big human being. He might cause Usyk some problems with his move. Like,
I've got a better question.
they move different.
Is Rico a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Okay, well, Francis Ngannou dropped the unified heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury. So doesn't sound very ludicrous anymore, does it? If Rico Verhoeven was going in with Francis Ngannou, would he be the favourite in a boxing match?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay, well, there you go.
I do think he would.
You don't take anyone for granted. He's a big, strong guy, Verhoeven. He's in good shape. He's physical. He's game. You know, he's experienced in the kickboxing realm. You don't take anyone for granted, but he doesn't figure to have any chance against Usyk. And Usyk is
The room was supposed to stay calm, but the second Oleksandr Usyk and Rico Verhoeven locked eyes for the final time before the fight, everything changed. Cameras started shaking. Security rushed forward. Reporters stopped asking questions. And for one intense moment, it looked like the entire DAZN press conference was about to explode into a real fight right there on stage. Nobody expected this level of tension. Usyk walked in smiling like always, relaxed, confident, almost playful. But Rico Verhoeven looked different, focused, angry, dangerous. The heavyweight kickboxing king stared directly into Usyk's face without blinking, and you could instantly feel the energy in the room shift. Then came the words that set everything off. Rico accused Usyk of underestimating him. Usyk laughed. That laugh made the crowd go silent. Within seconds, both men stepped closer. Forehead to forehead, refusing to back down. Security instantly jumped between them as fans inside the arena started screaming. DAZN commentators could barely control the chaos while photographers rushed the stage trying to capture the moment that may have officially turned this super fight personal. And here's the crazy part. Neither fighter looked scared. Usyk kept smiling like he already knew the ending. Rico kept flexing his size advantage, reminding everyone that he's one of the most feared combat athletes on the planet. Boxing fans think Usyk's movement and IQ will embarrass Rico. Kickboxing fans believe Rico's pressure and power could shock the world. Now the internet is completely divided. Some people think Rico crossed the line, trying to intimidate Usyk. Others believe Usyk disrespected Rico by treating the entire face-off like a joke. But after this press conference meltdown, one thing became very clear. This is nitrogen monoxide, longer a friendly crossover event. This became war. And when these two heavyweight monsters finally step into the ring, somebody's pride, legacy, and reputation could be destroyed forever.
Oh, a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Okay, well, Francis Ngannou dropped the unified heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury. So doesn't sound very ludicrous anymore, does it? If Rico Verhoeven was going in with Francis Ngannou, would he be the favourite in a boxing match?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay, well, there you go.
I do think he would. But I am a little bit biased on Rico's side. But
well, if that's the case, then
I do think he would.
This guy's got a chance. Because Francis Ngannou gave Tyson Fury an absolute hell of a fight. I'm not saying he beat him. A lot of people do think he beat him. And I understand why they beat him.
Come on, you've been in the ring with Usyk though. Like,
unfortunately, I have, yeah. But it makes no change on what my opinion is. Rico Verhoeven is dangerous.
Tony, on the other hand, thinks Rico loses his edge after 2 or 3 rounds because Usyk's push could make Rico's style look weak.
He has a big lump and he can punch. Like, I'm interested to know.
Does he land a punch against Oleksandr Usyk?
Absolutely. Do you want to bet? He lands a
No, he'll land a punch.
He will land punches on Oleksandr Usyk. He'll be actually took back in the first 2 to 3 rounds by his style.
and what will happen.
Do you agree?
I'm not sure.
I do. I think. See, this is only from my experience of sparring boxers, which obviously sparring fighting is different, especially at that level. So there's a little disclaimer for you. But so boxers, right? They've been used to fighting someone who's come through the amateur program in boxing, and they've all got generally speaking, a pretty similar style. They'll throw a 1-2 and a left hook. They work behind a jab. They'll jab to the head and the body. They'll throw a 1-2.
Tom, who has sparred with Rico, thinks that Rico will be able to bother Usyk and put on a great show if he changes his usual fighting move to something more interesting.
Basic conventional stuff.
We're all taught the basics.
They'll all do similar stuff. They'll have 50 amateur fights, 100 amateur fights, 30 pro fights, and they're all doing similar stuff. Now, when I've sparred boxers in the past, the success that I've had, which is very limited, I'll hold my hands up and say I'm not going out there and pinging like professional boxing and boxing spar, because I'm not, but the success that I have is when I do stuff that they're not used to. I'll be miles out range, I'll dive in and do weird stuff that I won't do the traditional 1-2. So Usyk has a chance of doing that. Sorry, Rico has a chance of doing that against Usyk, just doing different stuff that he's not accustomed to like he would be with normal boxers. Does that mean he's going to win the fight? Not necessarily.
Next is the shocking turn of events. He said that he might try a high kick in the 8th or 9th round if things with his teacher don't go as planned. I really love it, even though it's forbidden.
No, I love it. If everything goes south, I'll just throw a high kick in the 8th or 9th round. It's logical because they do not know me. They do not know the story. They do not know who I am. So it's up to me to give them a little bit of context, like what I've done within the kickboxing sport. The WBC also has a Muay Thai kickboxing division, so they understand my credentials, and that's how this fight came about. And that's how they sanctioned it. And then again, they can still be critical, but it's not up to me. It's just like, I take it as it comes. Be ready, because I'm coming for those belts.
And this is exactly what Tony Bello tells Rico not to do, because this is a legal boxing match with clear rules. Bello says that Rico might have a short window of time to stay competitive against Oleksandr Usyk by getting into some strange positions and moving in strange ways. He is not allowed to cross that line. Rico admits that he is afraid that even thinking about using high kicks could get him quickly disqualified, which would end the fight in an instant.
He's a bit better than novice, but he'll do things that novices would offset you. When you're a world champion or when you're a world-class fighter and boxer, the worst thing you can do is get in the ring with a novice because they make you look stupid. It's like Tom, if he gets in the ring with a mixed martial artist and he hasn't got a clue, he'll do things that'll go, what are you doing? But they'll take him by surprise. Things that you just raw novices would do. And I think that's Rico's best chance and opportunity, really, to do some crazy stuff. Don't kick. I'm not advising you to kick, son, don't kick. But just come and square on. Angles that you won't really expect. Taking risks from so far out, it looks stupid, but you'll actually have success by doing it because it'll never have been done to him before, and it'll be very hard to replicate sparring partners.
It was already said by Teddy Atlas to Rico that he has no chance against Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk doesn't believe that story. But Atlas thinks that fights like this are often described as choreographed. He uses the fact that Anthony Joshua beat Jake in the 6th round as proof, and says that Usyk would definitely finish the job even faster because it is too easy.
You know, it's just some agreement there. People were wondering that, I think, for a while with Joshua and Paul. Was an agreement to move around for a few rounds, then take the gloves off and go at it. And of course, Joshua, I think, stopped him in the 6th round, if I remember correctly, whatever it was. But a lot of people didn't think it was go that long. We got that one right. We had the over. I think it was 3 rounds. We had the over in that one. But Usyk's not the kind of guy that would entertain stuff like that, I don't believe. I think that he does deserve an easy one.
It doesn't matter how Usyk finishes it as long as he does it for a long time. At least that's what Teddy Atlas says. Atlas thinks that Rico's defense won't work and that Usyk will be able to easily break him down with constant combos. He said it wouldn't last long and that Usyk would knock Rico down after 3.5 rounds.
It's like having a heavy bag in front of you. Usyk will put punches together. He'll take what you give him. He'll go to the body, he'll split the guard with the uppercut. There's so many things he could do. And again, it's going to be not can he do it, does he want to do it? Does he want to do it, and how fast does he want to do it? Does he want to do it when the bell rings or go after? Then he breaks the guy down. I think the over-under is 3.5, right? Something like.
There is one thing that everyone agrees on about Usyk versus Ralph. People in the crowd will be on the edge of their seats during this fight. Max Kellerman has already said that it's a rough movie where Rico's ability to keep going is a win in and of itself. Even as the underdog, if Rico can stay competitive and steal even half the rounds, he earns respect, says Mike Coer.
Sly stood his ground and made something great. Rocky loses the fight, but by going the distance, he really wins, right? So obviously, if Rico Verhoeven somehow actually beats Usyk, he will have pulled off an all-time upset. But short of that, Mike, what's a win for Verhoeven here?
Max, I think Verhoeven, obviously, if he can hurt Usyk at any juncture in the fight, that's a win. If he can make it into the second half of the fight, past round 6, that's a win for me. And just being overall competitive and showing his boxing skills, I think people need to remember, Rico Verhoeven is no joke as a fighter.
Oleksandr Usyk's old sparring partner, Malik Scott, responds to the Rocky movie link by saying that it is unfair to describe Usyk in that way. Rico thinks he is up against the greatest heavyweight of all time. Scott thinks that Rico needs to follow Derek Chisora's advice to always dig deep and push the limits if he wants to have a real chance.
Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, the character, his record was like in movie land, 56-22 with 54 knockouts or something like that in movie land. Usyk is not movie land. Like I keep saying, Rico is going against, to me, probably can be considered one of the best fighters of all time in every weight division. He can have some good moments. If I was him, I would go in with the Derek Chisora mentality, make Usyk rush his offense, don't allow him to think, because if Usyk is, if he allow you to think and give you time, that means he's going to destroy you.
As fight night gets closer, the question of whether Rico can win changes to what it means to win when you've already lost. Shady says that people's views have already changed, and now a lot of them think Usyk will win. Still, he says that Rico will get a lot of respect in the boxing world, just if he can make it past the middle of the fight and keep fighting even though he is under a lot of duress.
Be honest. I mean, you're going to Egypt, you're fighting in front of the pyramids, like you already won.
No, if he gets stretched in the first round, that's not a win.
My thing is this. There's no way he can win this fight just because we watch Usyk fight against other big guys that's more than 270 that actually box for a living. And they.
So what would you say is like a Rocky win? A win where you don't actually get the W, but coming out of the fight, you're like, okay.
All right, I'll say this, because I felt like Jake Paul had a win against AJ, right? He lasted more than 4 rounds. If he lasts more than 6 rounds, right? Second half of the fight, I can respect that. Because Usyk ain't be joking and playing around with him.
No, not at all.
That's not his DNA.
A war veteran named Alistair Overeem joins the talk and says that what makes this matchup so exciting is its X factor. He draws attention to Rico's sidekicks. Usyk is the best boxer in the world, but Over calls him a real decoder, meaning that he reads his opponents, breaks them down, and changes his strategy every round. He thinks the same method will test Rico's drive, fighting smarts, and way of thinking.
The way I see Usyk is as a gigantic code breaker. So he is somebody who just deciphers people and breaks codes. And he just sees Rico as, hey, this is like an unknown code. Big gentleman, 125 kg, so there's like a weight advantage there. He is undefeated, so it's like a nice resume. And let's just see how I can break this code under these boxing rules set, given the, 10 rounds or 12 rounds. And the X factor, I think, is what makes this fight.
A star named Alistair Overeem thinks that Oleksandr Usyk is under more stress if he loses this fight to a kickboxer. Over agrees with Rico that he has nothing to lose when asked if he does. He says that even if Rico loses, working with a great boxer is a big deal. Since there are no belts at stake, he can leave without losing face if he is beaten. M says that if Usyk loses, it will have a big effect on his career and how people in the boxing world see him. They say that he will probably be ashamed.
There's a big chance of him being embarrassed, but let's be honest, Usyk has embarrassed many fighters and outclassed many fighters. So for him, for his first fight to be outclassed by an Usyk is not a shame. And actually people are expecting that. So, and that is his goal to kind of course, he's coming into this fight to win the fight, but even if he is able to just put on an exciting fight, he'll have done better than most. So again, there's not much to lose for him into this fight.
The pros think that Rico will get a lot of respect in this game if he can make it past the halfway point. Oleksandr Usyk, who used to be a martial artist, has already said that Oleksandr Usyk is a fighter who figures out his opponents instead of trying to hurt them right away. As someone who has sparred with Usyk, Tony Bello says that he doesn't just punch straight, but instead studies, breaks down, and then releases power. According to Bello, the fight will go 8 rounds before Usyk really takes charge and shows Rico what he can do.
I think this fight will be very exciting for the 6, 7, maybe 8 rounds it goes. I think Oleksandr Usyk will not want to go in there and really, he never really goes in look to do damage straight away and early. I think he'll have a look at Rico Verhoeven, he'll download what he's doing, he'll figure out what the feints will do to him, which side he'll draw him on, you know, he'll hit certain parts of the body. He's going to show you feints that make you do certain things and go in certain strategies and formations of which way you'll play it. Once he's downloaded all this, he'll get rid of Rico Verhoeven. He'll just have 2.
Gareth A. Davies thinks that Rico's fight might look close at first, but the momentum won't last. He thinks that Oleksandr Usyk will be stopped between rounds 7 and 9, with 9 being his top pick. Davies thinks that Rico will start to break down under pressure once he gets into the flow. Rico will focus too much on Usyk's left hand, and his quick footwork and powerful jab will slowly open him up for a clean finish. How does Usyk get the win?
And how does Usyk win?
I think Usyk stops him, and I think he stops him between rounds 7 and 10. If you're making me do a round betting, I'd go round 8 or 9, maybe round 9. I think it'll be good and competitive in the first couple of rounds, but I think Verhoeven will be dismayed and disorientated and discombobulated by Usyk's footwork and the amount of focus he needs to not be hit by that left hand that Usyk creates lots of angles for by his tip.
Gareth A. Davies thinks that Oleksandr Usyk's footwork will be a big problem during the whole fight. He says that Usyk beat Tyson Fury twice, even though Fury was much bigger than Rico and had a high fighting IQ. Davies thinks that this fight will follow the same trend. Once we reach the halfway point, the tide will fully shift in favor of Usyk. After that, Rico might start to slowly fall apart.
That's very, very clever. And you look at how clever Fury is in the ring, how good his IQ is. He was outboxed twice by Oleksandr Usyk, certainly in the second half of the first fight and for most of the second.
The whole world is ready to be shocked by what happens inside the ring. And early guesses are already coming together. Nick Pete and Adam Catadral think Rico will approach the battle in a way that will be different, and that plan may surprise many. They think his best chance is in the first few rounds, especially rounds 1 through 3, when Usyk is still getting used to his flow and patterns. But they think that the difference in knowledge and timing will become more clear as the fight goes on.
Rico will throw differently. He's not an orthodox boxer, is he? So I think from an offensive point of view, it will be interesting to see how he throws his shots. I think his chances are early in this fight, as early as possible, rounds 1, 2, and 3, whilst Usyk is trying to figure out those patterns. I think from a defensive point of view, mate, I think he's going to struggle with range. We're talking about a kickboxer here. Anybody that's done any of this, whether you've been on the mats, done a bit of sparring or whatever, you'll know full well that kickboxing range and boxing range are 2 completely different range.
And on top of that, they say the biggest issue is the range difference between boxing and kickboxing. They stress that Rico might not be able to control space well against a specialist, even though he is tough and good at technical skills. People think that Usyk's ability to handle distance and range is a big plus. From their point of view, this is where the conflict starts to move in one way.
I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with, one, his technical ability and how tough he is, but ultimately, this is a massive, massive task. The odds are absolutely bang on, you're right, because he is fighting a master. And I just think that range is going to be the thing that he's going to struggle with, because Usyk is the king of range.
There doesn't look like Rico has a lot of chances, and even famous kickboxers are worried. Ernesto Huss and Peter Orts both say what they think about the game. Because Rico hasn't fought at this level before, H thinks the fight will be tough for him. Erupts also talks about the physical aspects, saying that Oleksandr Usyk has a bigger and stronger frame, which makes the task even tougher for Rico.
Usyk against Rico Verhoeven in Egypt, May 23.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it?
I think it's gonna be very difficult for Rico.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that experience in boxing.
Yeah, true.
And Usyk is really good, I think. And especially, he's not even that big, but he's beating all the big guys.
Yeah, but he's quite big. I met him last time in Italy. He's bigger than me.
Even though there are concerns, this event gives Rico a huge chance and puts Holland in the spotlight. Something that Peter Arts also stresses. Everyone agrees, along with Ernesto host, that the stage is great for him. But they stress that Oleksandr Usyk's experience makes him much more flexible. And that difference could become a problem as the fight goes on, especially as the differences become clearer in later rounds.
Okay, well, let me put it like this. When I saw him fight with
Tyson Fury.
Tyson
Yeah,
Fury.
but Tyson Fury is...
Yeah, okay. I never saw Tyson Fury. So,
he's bigger than us, much bigger.
But anyway, he did very good. I was surprised. I think it's a big chance for Rico.
Yeah.
But he have to do his very best.
Yeah, but the experience this Usyk had more than 300 amateur fights.
Exactly.
And unbeaten as a professional. So I think it's a big thing. But for Holland?
Yeah.
They're going to put Holland on the map too.
Rico has to show why he agreed to do something so hard and if it will pay off. Everyone is watching him. Even though Peter Z and Ernesto H both agree that the odds clearly favor Usyk, they both think Rico has a real chance to surprise everyone. They stress that anything could happen in this kind of fight. There is still a chance for an upset or at least a competitive showing, even though Rico is stronger and has improved his boxing skills.